Morning all. So, the audio and the video of this aren't going to match up because, in my infinite wisdom, when I was recording this video, I never checked the audio and it didn't record properly. So, quick unboxing of a couple of Unifi cameras. So, I ordered these a couple of days back. They arrived today. Um, the main one I was looking for was this one here that I'm showing on camera, which is the small G3 Instant. This is well, in Europe anyway, it's a €30 camera. USB powered, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Lovely little thing. I then also got my hands on the G4 Bullet. I'm going to put this into the front of the house to watch the cars that are parked outside and anything that's going on outside the house for that matter. Yeah, I was talking about this and don't know why. It's a 2K camera if I remember correctly, so it's a decent little camera, about 150 quid. And then we've got the G4 Dome. So this is one of these was 150 and one of these was €160, or at least it was the Unifi price on their website. So the dome is going to be hooked up to the front of my new office when we're already getting on to actually building the new office that in the future. The dome is going to live there. The bullet camera is going to be in the front of the house, and then this little doohickey is going to live in the back or in the office itself, well, in the server room. I'll go into that later. So, nothing in the box. Well, you take off the top part, empty, as you can see. I did. I was very surprised at the size of this little camera. It is quite small. It's a little dinky little thing. Now, to give you an idea, that's it up against a Huawei Wi-Fi or USB 4G adapter, so it's not even as tall as that. It's a bit thicker, obviously, all around the place, but yeah, decent piece of little kit. So at the bottom, you've got your USB-C port for power, and that's pretty much it. The protective film taken off there. In the box, stuff to throw away. Manual, start guide, blah blah. More stuff to throw away. Next we have these are all the adapters for how you can mount it in different ways. This is if you want to mount it on a wall. So it took me a few minutes to figure that one out. You can see in the video now once it's up and running. We have a power adapter, which is actually useless because, well, we don't use power adapters like that here in Ireland. So it is I was shown that at the bottom of it, you can actually read the text correctly. It is a 10-watt adapter, so 5 volt, 2 amps. But unfortunately, until I get an adapter for it, it's useless. USB-C cable in here. I can't remember if it was actually mentioned or where it was mentioned on the website about this. I'm just checking the site here while previous me is trying to figure out how battling with stuff. I think it looks like it's about 2 meters long of a cable. Which for my American friends works out to be about 6 foot. So just looking at the website to see if I can find out if there's any proof of that. So anyway, it looks like the box is empty. There's no mention on the website if or how long that cable is, but it looks like it's about 2 meters long. Rough estimate anyway. So this is how I figured out how to get the back off, or how to use this little adapter. There's a little alright, I'm not very good at where we're showing it on the camera, but there's a little place on the back that has a little protective nubbin in there. You take that out. There is one way that this will go in, and I tried every way and couldn't figure it out, but I did get it in the end. But that attaches in, and then using a screwdriver, you can screw there's a little captive screw in there. So if you screw that little screw in, it will hold it into place. And then using that adapter, you can then attach it to a wall or however you want. So there's the screw that's in there that holds it in. So yeah, handy. At the moment I've got mine mounted somewhere or another way. There's the screws that come in the box, and then all your different ways of doing things. There's me sneezing. Yeah, so you got sticky bits if you want to stick it some other way. So yeah, it's a handy bit of kit. So I'll put that little protective doohickey back in because didn't want to lose that. And yeah, so it's fairly cool. So that's the USB-C, and it's a right angled, or well, a 90-degree angled USB-C cable, which is very handy. So that's a nice feature. It's probably lucky that the audio doesn't work because I was sneezing a bit when I was doing this. So I'm going to plug this into my Intel NUC. So the NUC has proper powered USB ports on the front of it, and you can see the little white light start to light up there. Now it was a bit of messing for the next few minutes. So, well, I'll explain what was going on here while this was waiting. I realized that I was recording this on my iPhone, which my 12 Pro Max, which is my main camera. I was recording on the 12 Pro Max, and I was using my 10 or XS Max as my monitor for this. So basically, I was using what's it called? Filmic Pro. So I have Filmic Pro installed on the iPhone on the 12 Pro. It was on a mount, and then I'm using Filmic Pro remote to remotely monitor and manage that. The problem I was having was now I don't have a device that's actually hooked up to the Unifi cloud to be able to get anything from it. Now, while I'm working here, I'm trying to get my phone I'm trying to get one of my other phones, of an Android phone. I'm trying to get that hooked up. While that's going on, the camera is beeping and buzzing and shouting at people because it's telling me it's available to actually do what it needs to do. So in this series, and like I said, because obviously the video or the audio has gone missing, you don't hear me shouting at the camera and telling it to stop beeping. I can hear you. But I do spend quite a lot of time trying to log into the Unifi dashboard on the camera or on my phone. But I think, if I remember correctly, I am getting close. Ah, right, hold on. Right, so the device is now, I think, getting ready to be set up. As I said, there's a bit of messing when it comes to get this whole thing up and running. But the camera, by the way, is making an awful lot of noise. It's making ringtones and everything else in the background to tell me that it's available to be adopted. Which is handy if you're trying to adopt 3 or 4 and you're trying to figure it out. But there we go. Finally, it is now shown up as available to adopt. Now, this is done over a mix of Bluetooth. This part is done over Bluetooth. Weirdly enough, it didn't ask me for a password for the Wi-Fi adapter, or for the Wi-Fi connection. So I'm assuming it just picked it up from the phone. But it's a matter of clicking a button, saying adopt, accept the settings. I left it named as it was. It made a different noise. It then started doing its own thing, and then finally, it starts flashing, as you can see there. It reboots, and there's an update, so it installs some updates onto the camera, latest firmware and the like, and within a very short amount of time, well, as you can see there, it's now doing its firmware update. Within a short amount of time, the camera was ready to go. So I left that at this stage. I left that to the side, put away all its little extra bits and pieces, and I opened, remember correctly, only a couple of hours ago. Yes, the dome camera. So I opened the dome camera next. So home camera, like the rest of them, box is there. But the one thing I did notice, and I don't know how to convey this on it's heavy. I don't know how you can convey this on a camera, but it's heavy. It feels like it is made of metal, but it is a proper heavy duty piece of kit. So the camera itself can move around. So the base, you bolt the base onto the wall somehow. I have to figure this one out. I should have probably read the manual. Here's me taking out the little. This is the protective connector for the 4G connection, or the 4G connection. What the hell am I talking about? For the Ethernet connection. So when that comes out, you've got an Ethernet port. I think I was reading the PoE specs, so it needs PoE. Anyway, long story boring. You've got all of your, so there's metal here for mounting it. Still haven't figured out where that goes. You've got the manual, and you have all your different adapter doohickeys and manual. And the one thing I thought was cool was when you're actually mounting this onto a wall, it includes a little bubble level. So when you're putting this on the wall somewhere, you can make sure that your bubble level is, or well, your level is correct. So bag of screws and some other mounting hardware, or mounting hardware, just to say, there's a lot of mounting hardware in here. But yeah, because I am me, I did not read any of the instructions. I will have to. I'm gonna be putting this up in over the weekend, so I will need to figure this one out. But yeah, my story is boring. It's a handy piece of kit. So that's that now. As I said, it's made of metal. So the front part of it, I don't know whether it's glass or it's a kind of a plasticky, but you've got on the front of it is a, oh, by the way, that's the camera. So the little small camera has finally woken up, and that's live view, so you can see motion detection going on there. That's me, by the way. Hello. I don't usually show myself on camera that often, but yeah. Well, handy little tiny camera. It is very teeny. I'm wondering if it's going to be used as a webcam now. I think it has RSTP support, but it'd be interesting if you could use that as a webcam. It'd be anyway. Ignoring that, let's get back to the dome camera. I'm gonna leave that camera there and let it do its thing. So dome camera, yeah. So this little doohickey comes off. This little protective film, or it's not film, it's a protective dome. This comes off. It took you a few minutes to figure. Well, took me a while to figure it out. But this is your actual ball inside of it moves around for focusing where you want to set it. And then there's a little plastic or a little rubber grommet on front of it for protection as well. And then your little camera dome goes back on top for protecting this. But you know, I have to figure out the exact ins and outs. The bottom part of it moves around the place. I think the bottom part of it must come off. It has to come off because I can't figure out how you would mount it to the wall properly if it didn't come off. I might be wrong. It might not come off. But anyway, again, I have to read the manual. So here's me looking for you or Ethernet cable. And me, in my infinite wisdom, did actually plug in an Ethernet cable to get ready for this demo because I knew I was going to go off and plug these in. What I didn't do was make sure it was a long enough Ethernet cable. So it's been the next, yeah, so I take trying to get the bloody Ethernet cable plugged in through this thing. And yeah, it takes, it would have been easier for me to get a longer Ethernet cable, but I didn't. So yeah, so you have to watch me battling, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. Am I gonna rub a different Ethernet cable? I'm not gonna rub a different Ethernet cable because none of them are long enough. So I have to retread that cable because it's now on. It was stuck behind something. Um. Okay. There we go. Right, Ethernet cable. Fine. It still the same length. It's just not going through as many hoops as the other one was. So plug it in, and well, that's pretty much it. It lights up. There is a light somewhere on it. I don't know where, but there is a light on it somewhere. I'm gonna leave it there for a second. Ah, there we go. You can see the light just at the top flashing. So grab my phone and go back in. So it did take a bit longer for this one to show up as available for or available to be adopted. Probably because it took a bit longer for it to actually boot up than the other one did. But yeah, it took a bit longer. But there we go, new device found. So adopt. We just leave it with the defaults. I'm gonna name these later on at some stage. Device 101 and adopt. So again, it does its usual thing. If I remember correctly, this did try and make some. This did play some audio through its speaker. So this took a minute or two for it to wake up. You can see my other phone there, my 10 Pro or my 10X S Max, whatever the hell it's called. You can see that showing up different alerts. But anyway, let's have a look at the bullet camera. Now, the manual for the bullet camera was hiding in the top of the camera or the top of the box. Well, when we took that out, it's just a normal box. Little thing left it in there. I'm probably not going to need it, but actually, I will. That's future me. But it is also quite heavy. Little bag of silica gel embedded in there. But yeah, it's a fairly heavy duty camera. It feels like it's made of metal as well. Don't know, the silica gel is a handy thing. But anyway, on the front of this, you have your camera lens itself, and then you also have it's like a ring of LEDs. They seem to be infrared LEDs. I couldn't get my hands on the stickery thing, so I had to use a knife to take it off. Probably bad idea, but anyway, it seemed to have worked. So yeah, it's quite a heavy bit of kit, but you know, the foreshadowing of me ignoring the manual was kind of silly because I needed the manual because I couldn't figure out where the Ethernet port was. So there is a little small rubber grommet that hides what looks like a USB, an old school USB micro, not even mini, which is the bigger of the two. Which one was the first one, micro or mini? I can't remember. Anyway, I think it's a USB micro. It looks like a USB micro port, but I couldn't figure out where the hell the Ethernet port was. I know it's PoE powered, so I know there should be an Ethernet port in there. I'm looking in for adapters, I'm looking for everything. But essentially, what I figured out, after a lot of messing. So that's, by the way, the thing for mounting on the wall. And there's your screws and your adapter bits. And the only other thing that's in there is another bag of silica gel hiding at the bottom of it. I couldn't even open the rest of the box, so I know it's not something important. Sounds like silica gel, but I gave up. But um, yeah, screws, bloody blah. You need to put them back. So this is where things. Now it took a while, but essentially, I was on the right track there, and I stopped. That that plastic holder, or that holder there, moves a bit tight on the one that I had. Plus, I wasn't even sure if I was supposed to do this, but essentially, that opens. Here's me looking for that USB port again. I don't need the USB port. Yeah, so that's still the USB port. It's still not what I need. Long story boring. Backward, or well, past turning, it's somewhere else. So this turns for allowing you to turn the camera itself if needs be. But there we go. That's what's happened. So that thing comes off. And when that comes off, that's your Ethernet runs through there. And under this little protective doohickey is your Ethernet adapter. That's where you plug in. Now, I would have plugged this in and run some tests, but I didn't because I ran out of Ethernet ports, or well, power over Ethernet ports. I've done some tests since, and the camera is very, very nice. But essentially, you plug in your Ethernet port or your Ethernet cable, run it through that little, well, run your Ethernet cable through that, and then plug it in, and then mount it wherever you need to mount it. And then the bottom, I don't know if I actually show this, but at the bottom part of it, that can also twist off, and then the whole thing can move around the place. I made a complete mess of that. Future me will figure it out at some stage. What am I looking at here? I'm gonna figure out what I'm doing. Yeah. So future me, or well, past me has given up. Dom camera is up and running though. If I show myself on camera or not. Let me see. Yeah. There's the dome. Yeah, there we go. So there, when I was looking at this and I was playing around with this, there did seem to be a good chunk of a delay between live and non-live. But anyway, yeah, it seems to do the job. So that's your dome camera. Mini camera is still recording. It's still hooked up. These are all hooked up to a Unifi Unifi Dream Machine Pro. Or the 3 terabyte hard drive in the Dream Machine Pro, so that's what's recording all of the video from this. And yeah, more alerts coming through to complain about. Well, not complain, but tell me that there's more stuff going on there. So yeah. I don't think I got so much else going on at this stage. I think I was just talking about my plans, which are, as I said, Dom camera's gonna go. I'll be hooked up outside the front of the house watching the cars. The Dom camera's gonna be in the backyard and hooked up to the into the shed. The bullet camera is going to be at the front of the house, watching the cars. I have two 3G flexes, which are going to be one is going to be watching the back garden, one is going to be watching probably side of the house for that matter, and then I'm going to have the mini in watching servers at the server room whenever that kicks off. So, long story boring, that's about it. So, like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, all the usual jazz, and I will talk to you the next time, whenever that may be. Thanks. Bye.